Welcome back to Cord Cutting today, where we break down some of the biggest stories happening in the world of cord cutting and give you my opinion on them. Today's story is like Amazon's turning the Fire TV Cube into a desktop computer. We'll tell you what you need to know and where you can actually use this. The FCC wants to help speed up the rollout of fiber by making changes to laws on how people can connect to municipality poles. You know, those big utility poles out there you see on the side of the road. Who owns them? Who can connect them? If I'm a fiber company, how can I go run wire on them to service a new town? They're trying to make that easier. We'll break that all down. And the death of cable TV is going globally. Cord cutting is expanding from just the United States and a few other countries to a global phenomenon. We'll tell you some of the latest numbers, these stories and more, including the 2023 Cordy Award voting. We'll cover all this and more here in this video. First though, if you're new here, do me a big favor. You can find all these stories I talk about and more down in the show notes down below and in the first pinned comment. You can read the stories about them for yourself and come up with your own opinions. I'd love to hear from you. If you're new here though, do me a big favor. Hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up, let YouTube know you enjoy what we do here so YouTube recommends our videos to more people. With that said, let's jump into it. Starting off with Amazon's turning the Fire TV Cube into a cheap desktop computer for businesses. Now, Amazon's announced that the old version of the Fire TV Cube can now be used as a computer to run a Amazon Web Service virtual desktop. Now, these are $195 devices. It's actually a pretty powerful little computer for the price. And this is targeting small businesses, mid-sized businesses that want to give these to their employees, that they can set up a ton of different Fire TV Cubes across the office, have it wirelessly connect to AWS, Amazon Web Services, to a central workstation so that they can, no matter where they are, just log into their computers and access their desktop, all their applications, all their files, and more seamlessly through this. Now, for now, this is not being sold to the general public. I would kind of love that. It would be kind of fun if Amazon did take on Chrome, the books, and more with a relatively powerful little desktop computer or maybe a laptop in the future for syncing off to the Amazon Web Services. Right now, this is targeting corporate companies, but there's nothing to stop them in the future from bringing this out to challenge Google Chromebooks. Now, Chromebooks are often in a similar price point, but the specs on this are pretty impressive. 2 gigabytes of RAM may not sound like much, but they have a hex core 2.2 gigahertz processor and a 1.96 gigahertz processor. Pretty powerful little processor in there for this. You can also plug in a USB hub to be able to plug in multiple monitors, keyboards, and mouses into it. It's basically just a custom OS running on older Fire TV Cubes. Quite interesting. Hope this comes to the consumer market. $195 for a good desktop PC. Not a bad deal. All right, let's keep moving along. One of the big holdups to get fiber internet out to more Americans has been fight over utility poles. For example, when Google tried to run fiber in some towns, some of the local phone companies and DSL companies and more pushed back saying, oh, well, you're going to damage our equipment, our poles. We don't want you to use our poles. And different laws have been passed to make that easier. Well, now the FCC really wants to put in place a cost-sharing regulation on utility poles in its December meeting. The idea here is to say, hey, if a new fiber company, or let's say it's even a traditional phone company or whatever it may be, wants to run wires there, and it's determined that a new pole is needed, the old pole may be worn down or run out, who pays for that? And this is to stop fights and lawsuits and arguments that often drag on forever. Sometimes I wonder if they do it deliberately, current pole users to black out new ones. That will basically say the FCC says, hey, whoever has equipment on that pole has to split the cost of repairing that pole, including a new company that runs or run equipment on the pole. Now, in the past, they've already passed laws that say you cannot block other companies from using your poles. This has stopped the times where you see 3 utility poles right next to each other, each with their own box on it, because the original utility company didn't want to let the new company use that pole. That's not a good look, and it's not good for the space and more. So these things are being done to speed up the rollout here. So if in the future a site survey determines that a utility pole is too old and decrepit to add new equipment, at that point they can say, okay, these 3, 4, however many companies are on there, you're all going to split the cost of doing this and upgrading the pole so that the new company can continue to use it and enjoy it, and honestly it doesn't become a safety issue. So I love this. I think this is a great rule. This is the kind of stuff I think the FCC should be doing to regulate the interstate internet and more to help it roll out, get that fiber out to new markets and more. I've heard stories of these lawsuits over pole use blocking, over who's going to pay for replacing of poles and more, delaying rollout of fiber sometimes for years, depending on how severe the lawsuits are. So I love the fact that they're doing this. All right, let's move on. The death of cable TV is going international. It is being reported out there. According to Amplifier Analyst, I probably just butchered that. Sorry, my dyslexic self here. It says by 2028, or by 2025, excuse me, all major pay TV providers worldwide will be seeing a decline. There's still been some parts of the world where cable TV's flourishing, doing well. They believe that 2025 will be the year that changes, that cord cutting becomes international. Here in the United States, we're significantly ahead of many countries when it comes to cord cutting. I find, for example, parts of Europe are several years on average behind us in the world of cord cutting. Now that's changing. That's becoming more and more popular worldwide. In Australia, in parts of Asia, Middle East, Europe, and more, we're seeing cord cutting becoming very large. So we're seeing that by 2025, we'll see pay TV subscriber numbers decline worldwide for the first time. Pretty cool numbers there. I'm very excited about that. The more people cut the cord, you may say, hey, well, how does that affect us? The more people who do it worldwide puts pressure on everybody to bring more content streaming and to offer better streaming deals. Speaking of streaming, Amazon wants to stream NBA playoff games. Now, Amazon is reportedly going to be bidding for the new NBA TV rights that start bidding very soon here, early next year, for the 2025 upcoming season. Now, with this, Amazon's reportedly not just bidding for regular season games to get a few like they do with the NFL, but to also stream some NBA playoff games exclusively on Amazon Prime, as Amazon tries very hard to become a major player, not just in streaming, but in sports with that. We'll see how this plays out. It's being recorded that maybe Peacock and Max also are trying to bid on deals. Even Apple TV Plus could be trying to bid on some NBA TV rights. We'll see. The NBA TV rights contracts will be very interesting and will probably play a major role in other TV rights like the NFL when they come up to renew next time. So we're going to be watching that closely. All right, let's keep moving along with this. Couple Cyber Monday and Black Friday deals still going, including for a couple more days, the Peacock deal. Get Peacock for just $1.99 a month for 12 months, or if you prepay, and this is probably the best deal, you can get Peacock for a full year for $19.99. This is the base package here, but that works out to be about $1.66 just over a month if you prepay for a full year. So check out that deal. Deal of the day, link in the show notes. The Tennis Channel is going to launch a direct-to-consumer streaming option early next year. This will give you actually live feed of the tennis cable channel included with your subscription, meaning you don't need to go get a streaming service or a cable provider to watch the Tennis Channel. Now they've announced a new senior vice president to take it over, Matt Graham, Graham, hope I didn't mispronounce that, formerly spent time at PBS running their digital content, is now coming over to the Tennis Channel to help launch this new service. If you want to learn more about it and find out some great details of it, check out the show notes down below. All right, next Black Friday deal that's still going on for a very limited time. Hopefully this is still going. Check it out because it's a good deal. The Amazon Echo 10, their brand new one, the one with the face tracking, the newest model, is $100 off, and it includes many streaming apps, including Netflix, Prime Video, Hulu, and more can be streamed through it. Check it out. Link in the show notes down below. $100 off the typical list price. And lastly, if you have, or before I get into the question of the day, we are doing our 2023 QOTD Awards. Now, our QOTD Awards are something that we've done for years, where they're coming back now that I'm back, where you, the readers and viewers here, get to vote on your favorite streaming players, favorite streaming services, antennas, DVRs, free services, paid services. We got all kinds of categories where we want to hear from you what's your favorite as we hand out awards for the best of streaming and cord cutting for 2023, including categories like the best new streaming player, where Fire TV Stick 4K Max, the new Walmart On Google TV device, and more are all competitors for it. So check that out. Link in the show notes down below if you want to vote. Would really appreciate it. A couple weeks of voting. By the end of the year, we'll announce the winners of the 2023 QOTD Awards. And lastly, let's dive into the question of the day. Every day I answer a few questions here, maybe one or two, depending on how long they are. If you have a question you want to ask me, leave a comment down below in the show. Start out with something like a question for Luke, so I know it's for the video for me to answer. And in it, I'll be answering your cord cutting related questions. If I don't happen to answer your question, re-ask it. But the question today is, why is the FCC not forcing local television stations to put more transmitters up to help cover larger swaths of area so that more people can enjoy free over-the-air television? Well, there's a bunch of reasons. One is there's a cost here. Covering 100% of Americans with over-the-air TV is very expensive. It's that last 10%, it's going to be the most expensive. It is reported, I'm not sure, I think it is pretty high, but they report about 90% of Americans can receive your big four broadcasters, ABC, NBC, Fox, and CBS. Now with that though, it's the 90s, the 80s, it's somewhere in that range. But that still leaves millions of people without the ability to get free over-the-air television, even if it's at the 90%. Problem there a little bit is the FCC is kind of saying, well, we're more focused on other things right now. And second, the new ATSC 3.0 standard does deliver better coverage. It does do a better job covering a larger area. There are some hopes that that will address, bring that number even higher, more people get it. We'll see. I understand the frustration if you live in an area where you don't. I lived in the middle of Mark Twain National Forest when I cut the cord and got 0 over-the-air television stations when I cut the cord. Now I get over 50 where I live. I'm very happy here in Michigan. If you haven't tried antenna, try a website like Antenna Web or Rabbit Ears. Check out, see if they what they say where you live. I think a lot of people dismiss over-the-air television because they think it's like what it was when they were kids back in the 90s and early 2000s. It's very different now. A lot more content, a lot better quality content, and better coverage. So give it a try. Do I think the FCC will someday mandate more of that? Probably not. A lot of the bandwidth for television stations are being resold to do things like 5G and more. Hopefully someday we'll get more affordable options to stream the content for the people who can't get it with an antenna. Fingers crossed, that's what I'd love to see. Well, that's it for today. I'll be back tomorrow. If you're new here, you've been here the whole time, hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up. I would really appreciate your support. Until next time, I'll be back again real soon.